When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, want to see a dead body?
Hey guys, this is Devoid of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. If you want to get access to my content early, check out my Discord. This is the Chronicles of Lasher, Part 1. After Lasher was beaten and battered and left to die, the native species that called this world their home began to drag Lasher underground, where a majority of the alien population gathered, while their warriors were off facing off the invaders, leaving a good portion of their civilization alive. They are a humanoid alien race with pale blue skin, with sharp canines in their mouth, and long pointed ears like elves. As they place Lasher in one of their medical pods, as the medical pod began to slowly heal Lasher's injuries, while the aliens were discussing among themselves what they're going to do. While Lasher is revisiting the image of his fight with the frost demon called Ice repeatedly in his mind, seeing his defeat constantly making his Saiyan blood boil, and anger, and a whole lot of excitement. But with his body heavily damaged as it is, he is stuck where he is, even though he's unconscious inside a healing pod. He's still aware of his surroundings. He could clearly detect several life forms around him. It wasn't very hard for him to figure out who these people are. He was surprised at the inhabitants of the world would even bother rescuing him and sticking him some sort of healing pod. With that surprising act of kindness, Lasher decided he won't destroy them when he's healed. Are you sure about this, Elder? Helping that thing? You know what he is. That thing, as you called it, was the only reason why gave our people enough time to withdraw into the underground city. But sir, what if? Enough. I am the Elder, not you. You will comply. But sir, don't you sense it? I'm very well. I sense the evil in the boy, but there's also good in him. It's faint, but it's still there. If anyone here knows how Saiyans act, it would be me. All Lasher can do now is image train to sharpen his skills and techniques in his Mindscape. Lasher opened his eyes to reveal a complete copy of the Arena of Apocalypse that he made using his Mindscape for training. Lasher made a complete copy of himself to be his sparring partner. Lasher can create more than one if needed, but one complete copy should be efficient enough for now. Lasher and his image clone got into their fighting stance. Lasher and his image clone rushed towards each other as the image clone shot out a small ki blast, forcing Lasher to slap it out of the way, as the image Lasher used a small ki blast as a distraction and threw out a right hook at Lasher. Lasher managed to block the punch with his forearm, his right forearm. The image clone immediately tried to do a leg sweep. Once his initial strike was blocked, forcing Lasher to jump up in the middle of the air, only for the image clone of Lasher to kick Lasher away. Lasher plunged his fingers into the hard tile of the arena ground. With a smirk on Lasher's face, he rushed towards his image clone and began to exchange punches and kicks as sonic booms were being created in the air from their battle. When they both reappeared once again, their fists collided, making another powerful sonic boom. Lasher used the opposite hand to blast the image double of himself away and began to charge up a ki technique as Lasher proceeded to unleash a rapid shot of his ki blast. Then he immediately proceeded to use a rush attack, his void rush, and easily cut the distance and start to land powerful blows with deadly combinations, using his legs, knees, elbows into a devastating combination attack. Lasher landed a strike across his face, then landed a left hook into his stomach, then slammed his knee into the side of the image clone's ribs, then slammed the copy of himself with his elbow right into his shoulder blades. Then to end his combination, he blasted the image clone of himself away with a powerful ki blast with both of his hands into his stomach, sending the image clone of himself away as Lasher immediately charged up and released a eclipse cannon, completely vaporizing his image double. As soon as the smoke cleared from his eclipse cannon, 3 more of his image clones of himself appeared and began to surround Lasher, as Lasher had a smirk on his face and engaged in combat with the 3 image clones, exchanging blows with each other and throwing out some of his own punches and kicks. Lasher kicked one of the image clones away as he blocked 2 strikes from the 2 remaining image clones, using his forearms to block both of their fists. Then he kicked one of the image clones away, leaving only one that's currently engaged in combat with him, and landed a devastating uppercut as the image clone was sent airborne. Then Lasher appeared right above the image clone and knocked him downwards onto the hard tile ground of the floor. As Lasher flew downwards, slamming his knee into the image clone's stomach, making the image clone cough up spit. Then he immediately unleashed a Nova Wave at medium power, completely vaporizing the image clone on the ground. Lasher felt his danger sense go off and immediately engulfed himself in a ki barrier in form of an orb, as 2 high-powered eclipse cannons hit him on both sides, trying to break through Lasher's ki barrier. Lasher immediately screamed out loud and powered up, breaking his own key barrier and sending the two image clones flying backwards. As Lasher begins to charge up and release his ultimate technique, the Eclipse Nova, sparks of black electricity begins to emanate off of Lasher's body as the two remaining image clones fly towards him, right next to each other. As Lasher thrusts his hands extended outwards, as a black Kai blast in the form of a beam shot forward, engulfing half of the arena, as there was a loud and thunderish black explosion of pure raw energy. When the black energy receded, leaving half of the arena destroyed, as the arena begins to rebuild itself and repair, as this entire area is made for combat in his mind, so he can't truly destroy anything here. With that done, Lasher finally opened his crimson eyes, as the healing pod began to drain the liquid out of it. As Lasher is fully healed, once the pod empty of liquid and the pod door opened, Lasher stepped out. Instantly, he was engulfed in a rush of power from his Zenkai boost, surprising the older blue alien. He's had plenty of experience with Saiyans, but he's never experienced a Zenkai boost in person before. He's battled against Saiyans and with Saiyans, so he does have experience with the species. Much better, I've gained more power. Not enough to kill that bastard, but it's a good first start. Greetings, Saiyan. So you must be the leader of this group of survivors, your people at least. Indeed, I'm what you call the elder, the leader of my people. Don't let my young appearance fool you. I am quite old. Yeah, I don't really care, so you know what I am. That furry tail around your waist is a big giveaway. I've encountered your race in the past, when I was much younger. Sadly, my days as a warrior has long passed me. I'll leave the fighting to the youngsters like yourself. May I ask how old you are? It's really none of your business, but I'm 10 years old. For someone so young to be so powerful in life is always moving and changing. I could tell you have a long battle ahead of yourself, and I'm not talking about the Frost Demon. What do you mean, old man? You'll see, my boy, you see. Cryptid bastard. The elder laughed. He's not offended by the young Saiyan boy. He has fought his kind. He has joined forces with his kind. So he's well versed in how Saiyans operate. After all, they are a fierce warrior race. Not much on respect or manners. All they care about is strength, and the elder knows that. That's how their kind is, and he learned that from a young age. I never got a chance to ask you, what's your name, young one? Lasher, old man, even though you don't look like you're past 30. My kind ages differently. We don't age in the traditional sense. So, where are we going, old man? To get you something to eat. I know how big a Saiyan's appetite is, and we should have plenty of food. It shouldn't be an issue. Very well, old man. Hate to say this, but thanks for healing me up. No problem. For gratitude, for gratitude, I won't destroy your people. Most appreciated, I would rather not experience death. Lasher was amazed by the buildings. They seemed to be far more advanced in the underground city compared to the buildings on the surface. What is this place? I get it now. You sly old bastard. The buildings on the surface is basically a cover. You're a smart one, yes. The buildings on the surface is just a cover. And our true cities has always been down underground. That's why we didn't mind too much for the buildings being destroyed on the surface. They could always be repaired. Majority of the people that were in the invasion were warriors anyways. So not much of our civilians were killed. We were never in any danger as long as that frost demon didn't blow up the planet. You don't live as long as I have without learning a few things. After the feast, I'll show you something that you would find quite interesting. You have piqued my interest, old-timer. Trust me, the wait will be worth it. Very well. It didn't take them long to begin the feast. Everyone was surprised watching Lasher eat like his stomach has a bottomless pit. After an initial shock of witnessing a Saiyan eat food, the elder eventually led Lasher to a building that's located in more of a secluded area of the underground city. There's a waterfall right next to the building as they entered a large building. As the elder led Lasher inside, showing him the quarters in the training room. What is this? I've never seen anything like this. It's quite advanced. This is my old training room. It hasn't been used in many years. This specific training room is a special. It has the ability to increase gravity. Gravity training? Now you're talking my language, old man. How high can it go? You can go all the way up to 50 times the normal gravity of this planet. But why show me this? You want to get payback, don't you? Of course I do, old man. I would rather not have that monster come back and finish what he started. That's why it'll be in my best interest in my people to get you as powerful as I can. Not only gravity training, I will also teach you many techniques I have created over the years. I do see your logic, but outside of that, what else do you get out of this? I'm old, Lasher. None of my people are able to learn my techniques. But you, a Saiyan, won't have that issue. I want to pass on my knowledge to the next generation, regardless if the next generation is one of my kind or a Saiyan. I want to pass on my knowledge. Very well. The question is, Lasher, are you willing to learn? You got yourself a deal. Teacher? That's a good lad. Why don't you get some rest? And I will instruct you on your first lesson in the morning. And just call me Sensei. From now on. Lasher gave the alien a smirk. Very well, Sensei. His new teacher left shortly afterwards. Lasher's experience on this planet has made it very clear to him he's not as powerful as he originally thought. He needs to get stronger. If this alien wants to teach him, he has no problem learning. His pride will take a slight hit, but he's willing to do anything to gain power, to get his revenge on the weird-looking alien that calls himself Ice. The next morning, he got up, and his new sensei tossed him some training clothes and ordered him to change. The moment he put on his training clothes, he noticed his movements got a lot more sluggish, and he felt a lot more heavier. Ah, I get it now. Weighted training clothes. He met his new sensei outside of the building. As you will probably already figured out, these weighted training clothes are weighted, naturally. But how? They look like normal training clothes. Magic, my boy, magic. Your training for today is going to be quite simple. You're going to run the boundaries of the underground city, let's say about 200 laps. With his task set up in front of him, he begins to run around the boundaries of the underground city. At first, it was tough, with the weighted clothes, but eventually he got used to it. The moment he got used to the weighted clothes, a magical symbol glowed on the back of his weighted clothes. As his clothes got even heavier, Lasher growled out, "That old bastard is a sadist." As he continued to run laps, he finally finished and started to pant heavy from the extremely hard exercise. The elder is fully aware this sort of training for such a young boy would be way too rough, but Lasher is a pure-blooded Saiyan. Training like that wouldn't even phase a Saiyan child. Elder's been on Sadala on many occasions when he was younger, when their species were travelers. They're no longer. They have space technology to travel, but they choose not to. Instead, they try to focus their technology on the more medical side of things. Excellent work, Lasher. You're gonna do this every morning now. Let's see what I have to work with. Get into your fighting stance. Lasher proceeds to do as he was told and get into his Apocalypse fighting stance that he learns on Apocalypse. I see you have a style already. I'm unfamiliar with the style. Show me more how your style works. Understood, Sensei, as Lasher begins to shadowbox himself using his fighting style he learned from Apocalypse. I've seen enough. A very good fighting style, fast and precise. I want you to follow my movements. This fighting style I'm about to teach you will complement your current fighting style. Combining the two styles will benefit you greatly. As the elder showed Lasher step by step the fighting style he's teaching him. It's been 4 days. Lasher has continued with his harsh training with the elder while running around the city, doing about 300 laps a day. Afterwards, he would work on the new fighting stance he's learning. Lasher is a bit of a prodigy, so he does see the aspects of the new fighting style would fit nicely with his current style. It will definitely cover up all of the weakness in the fighting style that he knows from Apocalypse. Lasher's never had an actual sensei before. Yes, he's trained with Darkseid, but that wasn't really him teaching him anything. That's just Darkseid beating him near death, forcing him to have a Zenkai boost, making him stronger. But with his elder, he's actually teaching him things, and he's learning quite rapidly. Lasher immediately soaked up all the new information They haven't done any gravity training yet, but he's getting all of the necessary fundamentals to increase his prowess in hand-to-hand combat, reflexes, strength, speed, and endurance. After running his morning lap, he met up with his sensei. So what's the next on the agenda, Sensei? Now that you've learned the fighting style I taught you completely, the rest is up to you to make it your own. The next lesson I will be teaching you is ki control. But Sensei, I already know that. No, you don't. You self-taught yourself. You're not utilizing your ki correctly. I noticed that fight with that frost demon you had when you first arrived. You were wasting too much of your ki in your attacks. The elder begins to teach Lasher the proper way by showing him several different type of ki exercises to help him control his ki control. They spent the rest of the day concentrating on ki control. The next day eventually came. After his laps around the city, he continued using different type of ki control exercises to better control the flow of his ki throughout his body. Couple weeks turned into months. Couple months turned into years. As Lasher has grown in power and age, Lasher is currently 14 years old. Into a fierce warrior under the tutelage of the elder that he refers as Sensei. A year ago, Lasher found out his sensei was quite the brutal man in his youth. He figured that's why he has such a close relationship with the Saiyan race. It's time, isn't it? Yes, Sensei. You have learned everything I could teach you at this point. Thank you, old man. With what you taught me, and the power I've gained over all these years on this planet, with the gravity training, I'm far more powerful than I was when I first arrived. But it's time for me to leave. I still have my mission to complete. I have no doubt you do, son of Apocalypse. Lasher said his farewells as he blasted off, flying out of the underground city, flying through the surface through a long, confusing pathway of a cave system. When he got out of the cave system and got into the surface, he immediately broke through the atmosphere, flying into outer space. Lasher noticed familiar spaceships flying around the planet as he found a Cooler Force space station not too far away from the moon. In this system, he immediately flew towards the space station. Lasher blew a hole inside the space station. As Lasher's feet hit the surface of the ground of the station, with one hand extended outwards towards all the surprise aliens wearing the Cooler Force armor. As Lasher begins to charge up Black Ki, as he unleashed a Nova Wave at medium power. When the smoke cleared, on one side of the hallway was filled with unconscious aliens scattered all around, their armor broken. Suddenly Lasher was smacked across the face, sending him outside of the space station. When Lasher turned his attention towards his attacker, he noticed the person who hit him outside of the space station was an alien species he hasn't seen before, pale blue skin, with two blue horns protruding from his forehead, with cold blue eyes, wearing a more dignified, cooler core uniform. Nice punch. Who the hell are you? Name's Vector, monkey. Well, aren't you a rude one? What are you doing here? I thought your species were being too busy being hunted down and hiding like cowards. You got some balls attacking this station. Do you realize who owns this space station? Who you're openly attacking? Like I give a shit, blue boy. But what I do give a shit about is the location of that bastard ice. Vector knows what Lasher is referring as, after all. He's currently under his command. I don't know what business you have with my boss. Now that is interesting. If you're here, and if he's your boss, that means that bastard's here somewhere. Be so pleased if I were you, monkey. After all, you're gonna die here long before you come in contact with my boss. Lasher just flickered until he was completely gone. Utilizing his superior speed, Vector barely had enough time to block the fist swung at his face with his forearm. Perfect. You're strong. This would be too boring otherwise. You barbaric monkey. Fine, if you want to die so badly, allow me to oblige you. Vector powered up, making him far more powerful, as he's only utilizing 50% of his overall power. In charge at Lasher, throwing powerful punch combination strikes. Lasher matches Vector's speed and power, easily dodging and blocking his blows. They both separate and unleash their own key techniques, as Lasher unleashed a Nova Wave while Vector unleashed his key technique, as both energy beams collide with each other. As a beam struggle begins to commence. And that's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judging by time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.